Alright, now there is no X next to the mic, so we should be good.
No cross over the mic or anything like that?
Nope, just the regular mic symbol.
Cool.
Alright.
It's funny, I can hear the lag.
Oh, really? Yeah, probably a slight echo.
Especially, it's worse sometimes too, because I just heard it's worse sometimes too.
Alright, well, hopefully, I don't think the lag will come across so much in the recording, hopefully. We'll see.
No, it probably won't be too bad. If anything, it would be like a cool reverby tape echo effect.
Alright, so I'm just gonna do like a little, like a timestamp.
Okay.
Alright. So,
You want to?
what? It really doesn't
You
matter.
just go. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not gonna matter. Alright. So,
No.
fuck, what did I say last time? Alright. So, my name is Curtis. I am a junior English major at UMass Amherst, and I'm here to interview Mitchell Bordage about his academic and career experiences with English. So, Mitchell, tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, when and where you went to school, and what you do for a job now.
Well, I'm from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. I went to UMass Amherst, and I graduated in 2016 with a degree in English, a minor in IT, and a specialization in digital media and the new humanities.
All right. And what do you do for work now?
For work now, I actually work as a security analyst at the PJX company.
All right. Great. Can you give us just a little bit of the day to day, what you do in your position?
So a day to day, my position, my basically job responsibility is to make sure that the people within the company have authorized access to computer systems. Grant that access, remove that access, run reports to see who still has authorization of things. Typical like stuff like that, access based security.
Okay. Great. So, when did you enroll in the English major?
I was an English major when I was a sophomore.
Mm-hmm. And what did you start out as? How did you get to the English major? And what drew you
Uh,
to it?
so so I started off going into school as a business major, and I didn't really quite enjoy it. Um, I didn't really like the culture. I really didn't like the classes too much. So I ventured a little bit into environmental science, tried a little bit like that. But it was a similar situation where it wasn't quite what I expected it to be. Didn't really enjoy the classes all as much as I had thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, come sophomore year, I had found myself wanting to enroll in English classes. English was something that had always been a strong point in mine. I always had enjoyed writing, so I figured that it would be a good avenue for me to explore at that time.
Was there a specific instance that made you want to gear your college path towards English?
I wouldn't say it was a specific instance so much it was a lot of things over the years that just kind of built up. There wasn't like one moment that the English major revealed itself to me, and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. It was sort of a gradual kind of rise to enjoying and wanting to partake in it.
Okay. So, with your experiences in the English department, like how would you describe them overall? What was your favorite part? What did you learn, and Yeah, just a general rundown of your experiences.
I've had a really positive experience with the English program. I really learned a lot, both in the subject matter that was taught, the books that we read, but also I feel like it really taught me a lot outside the classroom, a lot that I apply to various other non-reading, writing facets of my life.
Okay. Excuse me. So, as an English major, I'm sure you got the question, "What do you do?" I'm sure we all get that question inevitably, and it's kind of met with some resentment on our part. Would you agree?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, people are always kind of questioning the fact that you are an English major. I mean, we all kind of face that as English majors. You get that awkward moment where someone is kind of they ask you, "Are you an English major?" Or they ask you what you want to do, and you say, "Oh, I'm an English major." There's that awkward moment where they kind of just don't know what to say to you. You know, they
And
don't really want to say.
how would you feel when people reacted like that?
Um, it definitely like so at first it definitely it got to me. It gets to everybody. You don't never want to be doubted in what you're choosing to do. And so that was something that when I first encountered it, I would give people throwaway answers to get it off my back. I would tell them like, "Oh, I'm probably going to get into writing," or "Oh, I'm going to be a journalist," or "Oh, I want to be a teacher." And these answers were all things that I had toyed with and I had enjoyed the ideas of, but nothing very serious. I just kind of shrug people off with those answers, knowing that I would figure something out, and that I just really loved learning English, and I thought it was very important skills to continue to learn, and that I was really growing from it.
Hmm.
So while I didn't have an answer at that time, I knew that I would have an answer down the road.
Okay. So you didn't have a career path in mind when you came in.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a misconception among a lot of people that are going to college these days, that it's pretty much like you jump into it with the idea that this is going to lead you straight down a path to a career.
Hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily happen. I mean, most people don't end up in the same field that they started off in. It's just it's an impossible thing. You never know what's going to happen to you. You can't really plan for that. So I never really had a career path in mind. I never had the assumption that a major would bring me to a secure job, paying my bills and all that stuff like that. I more looked at the majors as kind of as building blocks, as tools to explore other options, so that you were better suited to just navigate the world and figure out what you wanted to do with the skills that you have.
Mm. So I think your approach to choosing a major in academics is reflected in your current career because you were a student of the arts, but you ended up in a STEM field. So can you talk a little bit about how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so while I was an English major, I had this interest in technology. I always thought machines were very cool, but it was always kind of like as like a more from like a hobby perspective, never anything serious. It was more just tinkering and intrigue. Um, around approaching my senior year, I wanted to get a specialization, a certificate to go along with my English major to kind of round out my skill set. And I found one that was for a new certification called the Digital Humanities and New Media, or reverse that, New Media and Digital Humanities. And I was reading the description, and that one really appealed to me because while it was coming from an English background, the subject matter was very much about technology and how it affects the age. New forms of media that were coming out, especially with a focus on online content. And that sounded like stuff that was right up my alley. It combined two of my passions at the time. So that was kind of like the bridge between my English world and my existence in the STEM world of things. That was kind of the point where the gap began to become bridged for me.
Okay. And would you say the skills you learned in the English program still apply in your STEM field? And can you give us some examples?
I would say absolutely, especially relating to the classes that I took for my certification. Um, through that, I began to become too exposed to some material that I wasn't really exposed to in the past. Especially just ideas of like how to read online articles. Those are read differently than a typical newspaper article is. You may not think it seems the same at face value, but there's very different ways that you read that as compared to a typical print article. So beginning to interact with those materials kind of readied me to explore some of the more dense kind of very like STEM exclusive topics and whatnot that come from that field. Being exposed to just like these various mediums of communication, you start to become better at picking up new ones. So this new information that starts coming at you becomes a lot more easy to read and a lot more easy to digest because you've been given the skills to pick apart dense information, things that aren't just readily available for you to pick apart and understand.
Mm-hmm. One of the main skills people derive from the English program is communication. And how important would you say that is in your job?
I think that communication is one of the most important skills in anybody's job. I mean, like to get along in this world, we have to communicate clearly and effectively. We don't want any misunderstandings because that's where conflicts start to come about, and we don't really progress as much as we're able to. So I honestly feel as though that my English major has made me a stronger communicator than a lot of the people around my office. Even some of these people, so like I'm 23 years old right now. Even some of these people that are like 40 plus, I read their emails and it's just absolute garbage. Some of the stuff that they write. And it's very difficult to try and get along with them and try to get on the same page, work on the same thing, and cooperate together because you're not understanding what each other is saying. So if you hone these skills and you become a more effective communicator, you just everything becomes easier from there because those are really the baseline skills that get us to where we need to be every day. It's just communication.
Well said. Well said. So, what would you say to say a freshman or sophomore who is an English major and is getting discouraged from the constant nagging and the constant questioning of the value of their degree? What would you say to show them that their degree has value in the real world and in the job world per se? Just what is its value?
That's a difficult thing because the value of an English degree isn't readily apparent. In a sense, you can see like the direct application of a lot of these degrees. The interesting thing about English is that its application is so far-reaching that you really have the potential to do a lot more with it than you do with any other degrees. I know I took a career class at the end of my college senior year, and in that class, we were given a long list of past alumni who had moved on to do other things, and you'd be amazed at like the range of jobs that these people went to. I interviewed a guy who became the director of communications for a startup company, and now he's doing really well at that. He's the top dog of communications. There was another person who ended up in marketing and advertising. There's like you can go really anywhere with an English degree. So my advice to people if they're feeling discouraged, would be to hold on to your ideas, knowing that it's a worthwhile pursuit. There is an endless amount you can do with it, and it is applicable to anything that you're gonna do in your life. Just know that deep down, and ignore all the haters, because they're all gonna try and jump on you and tell you it's not worth anything. But I guarantee you, it can bring you to a lot more places than a lot of the other degrees can.
Okay. Now, saying that it can be applied anywhere can be overwhelming for a student to hear when they're looking for answers. So how would you go about like helping a student zero in on what they can do with their degree?
I think the key is to really just think about your own talents. Think about other places that you excel, and think about how those skills can be applied with your English degree to kind of really tailor yourself to see where you could be the most effective person that you could be. Everybody has talents. Talent isn't something that you necessarily have to like work at just to get it there. It's something that you're just skilled at. So I think that matter of knowing yourself and knowing what you want to do, what you want to do and what you're good at. And if you can combine all of those, then that you have a recipe for success.
All right. Is there anything else you think it's worth knowing for students? Any final
Yes.
messages you want to deliver?
Yes. I think it is very important to keep an open mind about which way you're going. Keep an open mind about the things that you learn, because there's going to be a million people along the way that are trying to pull you one direction or the other. And the thing is, as an English major, you are susceptible to that because of the vast applicability of an English major. There's a lot of different directions you can go. So people are going to try and tell you that this way is the right path, or that way is the right path. This is the right way to think. And it's important to take all that stuff in and recognize it. But it's also good to keep it kind of at arm's length and understand that that is someone else's opinion. If you want to accept it, you can, but it's really important that you form your own opinions and you do what you want to do with the thing that you're passionate about pursuing, which could be English skills. It could be actually mathematics or art or anything like that. If you can find a way to apply it, though, then you really got it.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Mitchell. Can you just reiterate for us one more time a brief rundown of your academic experiences and your current career?
Yep. I'm Mitchell Bordage. I graduated in 2016 with an English degree, an IT minor, and a specialization in digital media and the new humanities. And I am currently a security administrator at TJX Companies.
All right. Thank you for your time.
No problem, Chris. Thank you.